this video, we are going to learn about law of variable proportion. Now, before I start explaining the law of variable proportion, I would suggest you to go through the previous video of this playlist in which I have explained the short run analysis and I have explained the meaning and nature of total product, average product and marginal product. Okay, so once you understand the meaning of these terms, we can start with the law of variable proportions. See, law of variable proportions operates in short run. Operates in short run means that all the factors of production cannot be changed. Okay, there are some factors, only a few factors or only one factor of production that can change and others are going to remain fixed. Okay, so this law operates in short run, and the law of variable proportion states that as the quantity of one factor is increased, as the quantity of a variable factor is increased, keeping the other factors fixed, the marginal product of that factor will eventually decline. The marginal product of the factor will increase initially, but after a point, when you add more and more units of variable factor, what will happen? The marginal product will start declining. Okay, you might have also come across some terms like law of diminishing marginal returns, law of diminishing marginal returns, or returns to factor. What is the meaning of these terms? See, returns to factor is nothing but another name for law of variable proportion. Now, what is law of diminishing marginal returns? Law of diminishing marginal returns is a narrower concept and it is a part of law of variable proportion. Law of diminishing marginal returns studies only that part of law of variable proportion where the marginal product starts declining and the TP increases at a decreasing rate. Okay, it does not include that part where TP increases at an increasing rate. So law of diminishing marginal returns is a part of law of variable proportion, okay, which I will later elaborate in the video. Now, before we study the law of variable proportions, we need to understand some of the assumptions to this law. First is that the state of technology is assumed to be constant. Under the law of variable proportion, we study the change in output due to change in the variable factor. What will happen if we improve the technology of production? The total product will increase without increasing the units of variable factor because now we have better technology. So we cannot change the technology because we have to measure the change in output due to change in that particular variable factor. Now, another assumption is that only one factor at a time is assumed to be variable because only then we can study what would be the change in output due to change in that variable factor. So only one factor at a time is assumed to be variable. Then units of variable factor are assumed to be homogeneous. Homogeneous means they are assumed to be of same quality. Otherwise, what will happen? Law of variable proportion will show us the combined effect of change in variable input with the quality of input. It will show us the change in input along with the change in quality of input. Okay, so all the variable factors are assumed to be of same quality. And last, the law is based upon the possibility of varying the proportions in which the various factors can be combined to produce a product. There should be a possibility of varying the proportions. The law of variable proportion works only on those products which have a possibility of varying the proportions. Okay, now let us try to understand law of variable proportions with the help of the schedule and a diagram. So we see that as we go on increasing the units of variable factor, what happens? First, the marginal product increases. We can see here till we add the third unit of variable factor, we see that the marginal product is increasing. But after the third unit, when fourth, fifth and sixth unit is added, marginal product has started decreasing and later it becomes negative. So when the marginal product increases, the total product increases at an increasing rate. And when the marginal product starts declining, total product is still increasing. Okay, it is still increasing, but the rate of increase has also declined. And later when marginal product becomes negative, the total product starts declining. This stage, when there is an increase in marginal product, is called stage of increasing returns to factor. This stage when marginal product starts decreasing is called diminishing returns to factor, and the stage when marginal product, when we have the variable input on the x-axis and the output is shown on y-axis. So as we go on increasing the units of variable input, what happens? In this example, we see that till the third unit, the marginal product curve, this is the MP curve, the marginal product curve is increasing till point E. Okay, and along with this, in correspondence to this, the total product curve is also increasing till point A. Now, why till point A? Because after this point, what happens when marginal product starts declining? The total product curve also changes its curvature and becomes more of horizontal curve. It becomes more horizontal and not very vertical. It changes its curvature. Instead of going vertical, it changes its curvature and moves horizontal. Why? Because now the total product is still increasing, but it is increasing at a decreasing rate. So the curvature of total product curve has changed. And this point where the curvature of total product changes and where the marginal product is maximum, this point is called the point of inflection. Okay, because till this point total product increases at an increasing rate, and after this point, since the marginal product starts declining, the total product still increases but at a decreasing rate. At point B, where MP and AP, where marginal product and average product are equal, that is the point where average product is maximum, and this is the point which marks the end of stage 1 of production. Stage 1, that is increasing returns to factor. This point marks the end of stage 1, and after this point begins the stage 2. Now in stage 2, what do we see? We see that the marginal product curve is continuously declining, and there comes a point C where marginal product is 0, and at this same point the total product is maximum. The point when marginal product is 0, total product is maximum. This point marks the end of stage 2. This is stage 2. Okay, and after this point, what happens? The marginal product starts becoming negative and total product starts declining. So this is stage 3, the stage of negative returns. This is stage 2, which is the stage of diminishing returns, and this is stage of increasing returns. Now we have learned in the beginning that this law of variable proportion helps a manufacturer to find out, the optimum level of production. Now, a rational producer will always operate in stage 2. Because stage 3 is a stage of negative returns, so there is no question of operating in stage 3. And the producer will not stop the production in stage 1 because the fixed factors of production in stage 1 are not fully utilized. And how do we know that they are not fully utilized? Because in stage 2 we see that the production is still increasing. Okay, so since the production is still increasing, that means if we stop here, this will be our underproduction, because our fixed factors are still not completely utilized. And when our marginal product becomes 0, it means that adding more additional units are not going to make any addition into the total product. And when marginal product is 0, total product is maximum. So the rational producer will try to produce the maximum amount of total product which he can produce with his various inputs. So stage 2 is a stage where most of the producers aim to operate. Stage 1 and stage 3, these stages are called the stages of economic absurdity and non-economic regions in the production function.